Someone had mentioned to me about before Mass that there are elderly people here who maybe have a hard time coming up for communion. Please do not hesitate to stay in your place and just ask the usher to bring an extraordinary minister of communion to you to share the Eucharist so you don't have to walk all the way up to the front, particularly if that's a challenge for you. Somebody, as I mentioned before Mass, there was a scam going on in which on a false email address that was attributed to me, there was a request for iTunes gift cards or something like that, of all things. And someone in the parish remarked to me, as soon as I got that email, I knew it wasn't you. And I said, well, how did you know that? He said, you'd never ask for a gift card. You always ask for more money than that. True. But anyway, it is a scam, just that you know that. Today we have that tremendously, kind of in a sense, heart-wrenching gospel, where Jesus is there with the young man, and the young man is obviously of good heart, of good spirit, of good intention. He says, Jesus, what do I need to be saved? And Jesus lists the commandments and says, oh, I've done all those things. I follow that. I live the law. And Jesus says, only one thing more you need to do. Only one more thing. Go sell you what you have and give to the poor and come follow me. And his face fell and he walked away. It's one of the few times in the gospel that Jesus is rejected when he's invited an individual to come and follow him. But the man had many possessions. And he had allowed, in a sense, his possessions to possess him. And that's the difficulty with possessions. Among the Jewish people, there was a feeling, as there is among many Christians, that if you have a lot of things within your life, if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of blessings, if you have a lot of in your portfolio, God has blessed you, therefore you're almost assured of your salvation. In fact, a couple of Protestant churches say that that's the best sign that you're saved, is success in accumulating money and things within your life. And Jesus says, no, that's not necessarily true. It's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter into heaven. Now you can just imagine that camel going through the eye of the needle. It's almost impossible, particularly if the camel is laden down with a lot of stuff. And Jesus does challenge the individual. But he says, what's not possible for for a man, is possible with God. And that's the crucial thing. Nothing is impossible for God. So therefore, we should not worry about the fact that maybe we have blessings in our life, but it is that question about what we do with them. Someone told me I should not tell this story, but I'm going to chance it tonight. And the story was a priest one time was going, and his parish was in financial problems. And so he went to one of his parishioners who gave nothing to the church. And he said to the parishioner, Joe, he says, I've noticed you do come to Mass, but I noticed that you never put anything in the collection. And there's no record of any giving from you. And he said, and you live in this nice, big, beautiful home, and I've done some research about you, and I know you have a good job and it has a good income, and that you're doing pretty well within your life. Do you think you could give something to the church? And so Joe looked at him and said, well, Father, in your investigation, did you also find out that my mother has Alzheimer's and that she's in a care facility? And then my father had a stroke, and he has a lot of nursing needs and cares. And did you also notice that my sister is a single parent with 5 children to raise? And I have an aunt who's also very ill. Did you notice those things, Father? And the priest said, no, Joe, I didn't realize that you had all that challenge and all that difficulty within your life. And Joe said, yeah, and I want you to know, Father, I have not given one of them even a dime. Why do you think I give the church a penny? It's an important thought. Some people do hold on to their money. They don't even take care of their own needy within their families. That's where greed comes in, and that's what Jesus is talking about. It's not how much we have or how little, but it's what we do with what we do have. You know, one of the things they talk about in India, how they catch monkeys, they take a coconut, put a hole in one end, or two holes, and put a little rope through it, tie it to a tree. And then they put another big hole, a little bigger hole at the other end, just enough for the monkey to get his hand into it. And then they fill it with peanuts. And then the monkey goes in and he grabs the peanuts, and he can't get his hand back out again. And he'll never let loose of those peanuts. He holds on tight. That's a great symbol of greed. Holding on tight rather than thinking about generosity, rather about thinking about what good can I do with what the blessings I have. And that's what Jesus is asking of all of us, is that we recognize that the things that possess us are not just our finances. And that's the other point here. Jesus is challenging us to stop and ask ourselves, what possesses me in my life? It may be my portfolio, may be my job, my success, but it also can be other things can possess me. You know, I can be possessed by sexuality. I can be possessed by pornography. I can be possessed by alcohol or drugs. I can be possessed by angers or revenge or negative feelings within my life. And those things possess me. And Jesus is talking about leaving those things. Let those things go and come follow me. Have that change of heart. So it's not just about that money. It's more importantly about anything in our life that may possess us, that may preoccupy us, that may prevent us from following the Lord within our own lives. That's the challenge. And so Jesus does invite us to a deeper realization that he is asking something of us. You have one thing more. Do this and follow me. What is it that the Lord is asking you and me to give up within our lives that we may follow him more faithfully?